is API, and we'll see how we can do an API automation in Power Automate Desktop. Basically, Power Automate Desktop gives us an actions, ready-made actions to deal with APIs. So it's very important to understand what exactly API means. So you might be aware a little bit, but we'll see in detail. First of all, theoretical part we'll discuss. Then we'll see how we can explore API in Power Automate Desktop. So API stands for Application Programming Interface. Okay, Application Programming Interface. This is one of the much needed concept, I would say, while dealing with applications and its backend. So when we say applications, it could be anything like front-end application. We can say it as a, for example, your website. So which is written in a HTML. But what if, so that front end is called as user interface, where user comes and deal with that or interact with that particular platform. But when we, so with the help of this example, you can understand. So these are customer, supplier, partners, and apps. So these are the front end applications. So where user are interfacing, and when user are interfacing, they might be expecting some data. So how data are fetching from the backend? Backend is nothing but where the storage is done. So storage, I means somewhere on the server the data has been stored, all the data, related data. So whatever customer or the user is requesting, that request goes to your database or maybe in the backend server, and it will fetch the response back to the customer on the user interface. So there are the two parts we have to understand. One is a backend, another is a front end. In between, there is a link. That link is nothing but API. Understood, guys? So there is a front end. For example, you can take like let's say Amazon website is there, and you are searching out some results on that through the what? Through the web application. But whatever data is you are requesting, whatever user is requesting, that request is going back to the backend server. Going back to the backend server, and if the data is available, it is coming back again to the front end, and that front end is again showcasing the data what we requested. So there are two things. One is we are passing the request and getting the response. Passing the request, getting the response. So how this request and response are communicating? That communication is happening through the API. That is called as Application Programming Interface. So what kind of request we are doing? So that defined. That is a different, I think. We are expecting some data, we are deleting the data, we are updating the data. It could be any operations. Correct? So accordingly, so what in a nutshell, what you can understand here is, so API is nothing but it's an interface between backend and front end. It is the interface between backend and front end. So let us understand with the help of one of the best example. So this is the front end and backend example, I would say. So where in the right hand side you can see this is my backend and this one is a front end. So front end is the one where user is interfacing this one. Okay, technologically we can understand like this, but more roughly I can understand. So assume we go to restaurant. So waiter will play the important role here, right? So what is the role of waiter? We request, right, to take the orders, from customer. So we are the customer to take the orders from customer, and whatever customer has ordered, that order has to be passed to what? To the chef. Correct? And once the order is prepared, then it has to bring back to the customer. So between customer is a front end here and chef is a back end. In between these two, who is working? Who is the intermediate communicating person here is waiter. So this is the best example to understand what is the concept of API. Correct? And if API is not there, it's very difficult to manage the shape as well as take the orders, because orders are coming up multiples. So to manage each and order track of each, it's very, very difficult. So waiter is here, he is keeping the track, who has order, what has order. Also, if chef prepared the meal, so to whom it has to be delivered. So waiter knows about that, right? So this is how the API works. So API works. So same way to take the orders from different clients, I would say, right? Different clients or different customers in the restaurant, and give it to the respective chefs and deliver the order and response perfectly without making any mistakes. So this is how, real-time example. So API works in same analogy. So it takes the response from customer and deliver it to this, take the request from the customer, pass that request to shape, and take the prepared mail response back to the customer. So this is how an API works. I hope you are syncing with me. Any questions, so guys? Great. So being understood what is meant by API, let's try to understand what are the different types of APIs available in the market. Okay, so we have different types of APIs, like web APIs. No, mostly we are focusing on web APIs. So under web API we have SOAP, SOAP, then RPC, REST. So these are the different types of web APIs are available. Means these are different categories of web APIs are available. Under that, we are going to understand REST API. Okay, so without going much in the depthness of this one, so we are focusing on uipath, sorry, a Power Automate desktop application, how we're going to use API automation, like how we're going to use Power Automate desktop for API automation, that we're going to understand. So I'm not going to depthness of this particular protocols. So for an example, where these APIs are used, we can see REST APIs are used, like Twitter APIs are there, LinkedIn APIs, Slack APIs, different APIs, available. Okay. So let us go to directly what are different types of HTML fundamentals. Okay, we'll start with this one. So this is again the same one, client and server as we discussed. So HTTP request and HTTP response. So this is happening through the what? HTTP request and HTTP response. So basically HTTP, the protocol is there basically, to deal with the server as well as customers. So whatever customer is requesting, that request is going back to server, and server is giving a response back to client. Client in the sense, the user. Okay. While doing so, we need an authentication as well. Okay. What is meant by authentication, guys? Authentication is nothing but kind of security, secure code. So should not be open, right? We can find open APIs as well as secured OPI. Sorry, secured APIs, I would say. Open APIs in the sense there is no any restrictions. So directly without any credentials or something, we can access the server and server gives us the response. But always it is not possible, right? We should have some security. There should be some critical information or crucial information you wanted to access from, let's say, banking sector, wanted to deal with the banking database. So there should be some authentication should happen. Suppose my account is there, right? So I want to check my balance. So there should be secured connection should happen between your front-end application and back-end application. So through the APIs. So to identify a genuine user, we have to pass a certain credentials. So that comes under authentication, right? So to get a information or the data from the database from the backend, there is two ways. One is without security and with security. So with encryption, without encryption. With encryption means we are passing away some secret keys, some credentials to get the access, get the data. So that comes under authentications. So there are different authentication. Basic authentication gives you username and password. Okay, and some authentication like OAuth authentication is there, OAuth 1 and 2. So don't worry about this. So try to understand what exactly this means. This means simply we are passing some credentials to provide a unethical access. To avoid unethical access, basically we are passing some kind of encryption or authentications. In basic authentication, we provide a username and password. No one should access my account, right? So if I know my account details, then only I can access it. And if I know the username and password, then only I can access it. Or there could be some secret keys like OTP, correct? We pass OTPs. This is a simple example. So normally there is some keys we have to pass while accessing the data. So that kind of authentication is there while interacting with the API endpoints. Okay. So let us try to understand what are the different methods available. Okay. In HTTP methods, what are the different methods are available to deal with backend through the APIs? So we have mostly we come across get method. So get is nothing but request to read a web page. So basically this is getting the data, reading the data from the backend. That is called as get method. Suppose I want to post it. Post means I want to insert the data. So for that we have a method called as post. Understood, guys? So get is for getting the data as a response and post is for inserting the data. Then we normally come across put message. Put is also very similar to post. Okay. This is for post is nothing but basically inserting at a certain location. Means let's say customer is a Bhaskar and I wanted to change his phone number. So post is like that. So we have to pass the customer name like Bhaskar and along with his updated phone number like that. So there you go and append the data like that. So put is for what? Storing. So like simply storing the data there directly. Delete we can understand easily. So these are different methods. Delete is what? Remove the web page, means removing the data basically from that one. So likewise we have the different methods here, and we normally come across get method and post method. Get and post. So these are the frequently used methods we come across while doing the API automations. Okay. So let's try with help of some real-time examples. I will show you how to you may come across a real-time process or a bot automations where you have to deal with the APIs. Okay. So what are the advantages of APIs? That is a question mark. Like why we supposed to go for the APIs rather than a front end? So there are the multiple advantages I would say, guys. So APIs, when we do the automation using APIs, so there is no any front end application involved in this. So directly these are back end operations, and back end operation is less prone to a failure. So failure would be very, very less. Second thing I would say, it is the faster, as we're bypassing all the like front end applications. Suppose we want to get the data from database, I mean this is what from the back end. So directly we have the connections rather than going through the front end, scrapping the data and coming back to the application. So that is again this is a shortcut ways, I would say. Getting the data from backend is a shortcut way through the APIs. So these are the two advantages, I would say. Faster and less means what you can say, there is a faster as well as less, more accurate, I would say. More accurate, and failure chances very, very less. Failure chances also very, very less if you have provided all the details correctly. So this avoids all the intermediate steps to get the data. So directly we are interacting with the backend through the APIs. Okay. Let me show you some real-time examples. So for that, we have to visit a website called as, this is one of the free websites. There are the many websites are available through which we can get the data. Our APIs, wanted to see the APIs, how it looks like. Okay. So the website is recres.in. So this is one of the free websites where we can see the free APIs, for testing purpose, for developing or learning purpose. And what are the, how it looks like? Just go down here. Okay. So we can see multiple methods are available. Get methods are available, as well as post method, put method, patch method is there, delete methods. So we'll see get and post method from this one, as well as delete also we can explore it. So let us take an example from this one. First example, click on this get method. So how to understand this? Okay. So we are requesting list of users. What is the purpose of this get method? This is the dummy data, guys. Okay. These are the dummy data. So list of users is there. I want a list of user. So here is a list of user. So let me right click on this and go to new tab. You will see the URL. This is the URL. Okay. This is the URL and this is the response. Okay. This response is called it is in which format? JSON format. Okay. Okay. So this is in a JSON format. So data is available in JSON format. So we need to understand two things here. Let me create a notepad so that you can understand quickly. One thing we need that is let me maximize it. For API endpoints, we need first thing what we need is API endpoint. What we need? API endpoint means how to reach a destination, how to reach a destination or the server. So we need like first we need a URL. What we need? The URL. Second thing we need is URL. Second thing we need is, do you have any authentication? We can put a method. Method means it could be get, it could be post, depends what kind of operations we're expecting. Next, we required what? Do we need any authentication? Is it require any authentication? Guys, so authentication could be anything. It could be what? A basic authentication, depends, huh? Basic authentication, or it could be OAuth authentication. So depends on the authentication type, the details will get changed. In the basic authentication, we have username and password. Okay. So next thing is what? Along with this, what we required while dealing with API? We need a parameters. Okay, parameters. So parameters could be anything. While getting the details, I want the details of John. He's a customer. I want the details of John. So we have to pass a parameter called as name in the API, in the request. Getting, guys? We have to pass a parameter called as name in the request. So that we'll get the details of John customer. That is called as parameters. Anything. So parameters nothing but what we want to mix, like what value we're expecting, what field value we're expecting, that parameter to pass. Okay, so let's try to understand all this, and from this particular example, what we are having here is, this is my URL. Okay, here is my URL. So this comes under your first part. So API endpoint is URL is we found. Second thing, method. So to get this, what method you have to use? Here is the get method is there to get the response list of user. So method is what here in this case is get. Authentication is none, means authentication is not required for this one. But it's not always that authentication is not required. Okay, so let's say you are dealing with one of the business process automation. So it won't come up with the none authentication. It will be having some authentication. They will provide you the details of that one. Okay, username and password for that one. So that you have to add it in the JSON while you are calling the get method, right? You have to pass it. But now for an example, we have taken authentication as a none. Also parameter is also nothing, empty here. No parameters are to pass. Not applicable. But if you have any parameters, that also you have to pass it in the parameter section. Okay. Any question, guys, so far? Up to this? Are we good?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Sir,
yes,
that
please.
means suppose we have one application like I just working on the banking sector. So there is one application and I have access for that application like by using the username and password. So
Correct.
I can without opening that application, I can extract details from that application,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. This is how the beauty of the API. That is absolutely correct. So one way of getting the details is through the application, right? Like mobile banking, you are using the mobile application, or maybe net banking, like web application you are using to get the your account details. Another way is what? Through the API. No need to have any application. Directly you can get the details through the APIs. If you know the accurate details like URL you should know, method you should know, authentication you have to pass, parameter you have to pass. All these details you have to pass to get the details. So conclusion is what? What we are achieving through the APIs, we are bypassing the application. Got it, guys? We are bypassing the application. We are not at all
Yes.
interacting with the application. Directly we are going to the backend and getting the details.
Correct,
Now
sir.
you can
Correct.
imagine as a RPA developer, so we have a difficulty. It means we get a challenge. There is a complexity when you do the automation using applications. It could be web application, it could be desktop application. So when you do the automations, we come across challenges, right? There would be more chances of failure, bot failure. But when we deal with the directly to the back end, there is no intermediate applications. So I think it's very good option, I think. So directly we are bypassing, we are directly interacting with the database or the what can I say, backend data. Directly we are getting the data without any intermediate application. So this is achievable through the API points. Okay. So let's try to analyze this. How we can test it. First of all, I will show you the application as well. Now, maybe in where we are working currently, you may get an request or maybe requirement like this, do the API automation. So API automation could be the part of your automation. So how to start with that? First of all, we have to understand what are the API endpoints. This we have to get the details from the business. Okay, ask them what are the endpoints are available. So it could be all these details. Understood, guys? They will provide a API endpoints like this for you people. Okay, and response, try to understand response will get in which format? JSON format. Okay, response will get in response will get in which format? JSON format. What is JSON? Can anybody tell me? It is JavaScript object notation. So basically, data will come up in a JSON format. This one kind of format representation of the data basically. Okay. So how we got the data now? We can see this data is looking like this. Correct? It's an array format. Array inside array. It's a simple, simple language. And also data inside that array, how they're stored in a dictionary format, key and value format. I hope you are syncing with me. So let's say what is the page value here? 2. Per page value is 6. Total value is 12. Total pages is 2. Data is this complete. Again, under the data, we have the multiple arrays, sub arrays. This is the first array. Again, in that array, how the data got stored? Key and value pair. What is key? ID is 7. Email is this. First name is Michael. Getting, guys? So this is the form of data representation. This particular form of data representation is called as JSON. What is the long form of that one is JavaScript object notation. This is the popular methods, I would say, one of the form of data representation. And once the data is came up, we need to deal inside the automation tool. It could be uipath, it could be Power Automate. So how we can extract the data from this one, from the key and value pair, we'll try to understand with the help of example. Now, before going to the Power Automate desktop, I would like to give an idea how we can test these APIs without any RPA tool. It could be Power Automate or uipath. Suppose you wanted to do or understand this API pattern first without using Power Automate as well as uipath, then how you can test it. So there is a popular application called as Postman. Have you heard about this earlier? Postman application? Any of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So the Postman, I have already installed it. Okay, you also can install this, are freely available, and you can sign in with your Gmail something, and this is for testing purpose, guys. So whether suppose business are given you the API and API endpoints and wanted to test how this is working fine or not. This is a popular API. There are the multiple tools available in the market, but I normally prefer Postman. Okay. So I'll show you how I can test this. Okay. So what this request rest, this is coming up is what it is. They are saying get method. So with this URL, can we get this response that I wanted to check it? Go to this Postman, create a new. Okay. So I'll click on HTTP. This is my HTTP request. Okay. What it is asked, guys. So try to understand. I'm going very slow. If you have any questions, do let me know. So here methods are available: get, post, put, patch, delete, head, and options. So these are the 8 methods are available. Sorry, 7 methods are available. So here what we have to provide: enter URL or paste text. So paste a URL. What URL we wanted to, that is the endpoint, right? We already noted it here in the notepad. This one URL is there. What method? That is a get method. These two things like authentication parameter. If you have that, you can provide it. Where we have to provide it? Under the header part. So authorization is here available, guys, as well as header part is available. So here you can pass the values here, like key and parameters here, which are required. But for this particular API endpoint, there is no need of any parameters. Okay. So that's it. And go to the settings. Okay, that's not settings. Body. How we want a response. Header is there. Tests. Okay. That's it, I think. And parameters, you can pass it here. If you have any information, you can pass that information here. And let's click on send button. So it should give us a response what we are expecting. So I hope you got the response. Correct, guys? And also we have to observe this code. Status is 200. Okay. So whenever we do a API call, you will get a response code. Response as well as response code. What is the response code here now? 200. So if you Google it, okay, if you Google it, API response code and information, I will show you what that information. 200 is ultimately there is a standard. This is worldwide used codes, I would say. Why this internet is not working? Okay. API response code list. Okay. So quickly you can understand this. There are the multiple series, guys, multiple, okay? 200 series, 300 series, 400 series, 500 series. There is some meanings for that. There is a meaning to that. What this 200 means? This is the worldwide fix, huh? 200 is what? Okay. Means I can understand my data. So we are getting the data successfully without any error. Without any error. 201. Suppose you are creating a data, means you are using a put method, right? So in that case, data will be created and the status code becomes 201. So now in the Postman, what code we got here? 200. Okay. Okay. Similarly, has anybody observed this kind of, like when you put a wrong URL or something, we get this one 400 on the page, bad request or something. 404 not found. You might have observed this one. When server is down, when you are trying to access any website and the server is down, what code we get on the screen? 404. I think you have observed this many times. I'm not talking about API, but maybe we were trying to access any website and the website is down, server is down. Then we normally get this particular request 404 not found. So these are the simply the status. If you the API call what we are making, If it fails to reach the destination, then it, or if the page, whatever request we are doing, if that data is not available in the backend, then it will give us status as a 404 not found. So there are the multiple errors like 500 normally when you are working in any company, so you'll come across this error. So if the internal website is not working, we'll get the error like 500. So internal server error is like this. Understood, guys? Let me make here itself. I'll change this something tree. Let's see what comes up here. Oh, still information is available here. Let me remove this something. I give a wrong URL. What will happen? You are getting okay. I'll put something like this. Maybe for this all we are getting some information. I think we can pass some parameters here. I don't know. Just in the wrong website we can pass the values. No. Okay. So basically we get those kind of basically websites. What websites I'm saying? The abcd.com. Let me put this. So could not get a response, right? I think we are not getting any keyword. So normally what I meant to say is we'll get the codes like this, 200, 500, 400, depends on the response what we get from the server. Okay. So I hope you understood how to test the API using the Postman application. So we can test anything. We can test post method, we can test get methods, all the methods we can test from this one. Okay. So suppose I want to test this one, post method. What it is saying? They are saying go to this URL again, go to this URL. Okay. Which one you are testing? Yeah, this one. Okay. So let me close both of this. So post method. So post method, click on this, get the URL. Yeah, this is my URL. Okay. What they are saying. So to create an URL, this post is for creating a user. So for creating a user, we have to pass this information like this. Okay, we have to pass the information like this. What response we'll get? We'll get the response like this. This is example. Name of the person, job, ID will get created and created a time also will get. Okay, let's try and do this using let's try and using this one. Okay, port method. I will create one more. Okay, so here we'll place, sorry, we'll create a, oh, it's not coming up. We'll create here post method, put a URL. Okay, then what it is asking us, it is saying that we have to pass a body. How we have to pass the body? This is the body. Post is nothing but we have to pass the value. It we don't need any information. Direct will get all the list. For post, we need to put the detail. What detail we have to put? Body. So they are saying that this body you have to put. What is that? Open and close curly braces. Under that, you have to pass name is equal to something, job is equal to something. These two keywords you have to pass, or the parameter you have to pass. Let's go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do this. So in the body, we'll pass it as a. Think we will need to select here JSON, okay, in the body, JSON format. So we are passing the data in a JSON format. So this is my body. How we are passing the body, guys? So here I will pass is as, let's say, RPA bot. I'm passing a name as RPA bot, and is a, let's say, role is bot. So we are passing these information. So if I hit on send button, I should get a response in this format. In this format. So name of the user what we provided, job what we provided, ID should get create as well as time we should get it. And what should be the status code? 201. Okay, go ahead and do this. Click on send button. See, we got 201 created and we got this particular response. So created at whatever time we created, right? This is what just now we created. So this is the response. Understood, guys? Try to imagine a scenario where you are working in real time, where the user has provided you the URL as well as the format of data to be submitted. Formatted data to be submitted. So I'll give one example. I was recently working with one of the project automation where I had to pass the JSON. I mean, using the post method, I had to pass 5 parameters. One is order number, then supplier ID number, then its price, okay, total price, and at the end I had to pass status, whether success or failed. 4 parameter I used to pass. So same thing I built. I built a JSON response and URL I had already, and also user provided some authentication like headers. Some parameter they provided like username and password, basic authentication. Okay, so those parameters are provided here, and simply I automated using Power Automate desktop. So this is very uh, like similar to real-time examples. Okay, so far what we understood what is meant by API. We understood some examples, different types of methods in the APIs, what required in API with that we understood, and we also understood how to test an API using Postman application. Any question? Any question on the content what we covered so far? We'll jump onto the Power Automate desktop demonstration. Bhaskar, Tarnum, any
Yeah,
question, any confusion? Are we good?
yeah, good.
Okay, great. So why I explained this much part, because I would have shown you directly the demonstration, but I wanted to set the context, right? What is API and how we can use it, how this is the approach we're supposed to follow when we get a process for automation. Okay, you should be aware about your API endpoint, you should be aware about all the details, how to test it, all you should know. We need to do all this exercise before starting our development on API part, I would say. Hope you understood what I mentioned. So let's go ahead and build or demonstrate this using Power Automate desktop. So I have created a flow directly. First of all, API automation. I will show you from the start to beginning, start to end. So let me create a separate workflow called as API get method. Get method. So what are the operations we are having? We have a under HTTP on the left hand side, you can see it's an HTTP. In that we have a method called as we have action called as invoke web services. We have two different methods are available. One is invoke SOAP web services and invoke web services. So let's bring this third action, invoke web services. So this will pop up you all the details what we discussed so far. Okay, guys, what we discussed so far, this will pop up all the details. First, what is asking, guys, here? I want response from you people. What it is asking? URL. Correct? So you can unmute yourself. You can start participating in this discussion. So URL, I am just going to copy it here. What method we are having?
Get.
Get method. Then accept and content type, mostly it is this one only, application / XML, and content type is also application XML. Then content custom headers and body. So for now, custom headers are not available. What this headers includes? This includes authentication details as well as parameter details. As we're learning open APIs, there is no any parameters as well as no any what authentications. Understood, guys? We are not at all passing anything in the customer headers. So remember, when you work on a real-time project, so there you have to pass out the parameters. How you have to pass? Like this. username is equal to XYZ. Next, like this, guys, you have to pass the details. Understood what I'm saying? So these details are not available now because we are working on the free APIs or open APIs. Then request body. Request body, it comes up how we did it for post operation, right? Just now we added here where it is. Yeah, this one. So this is a body we have provided and requested the information. So we got the details. So likewise, if you have any request body, we can pass it here in the request body in a JSON format. So this is I'm talking, guys. So this I'm talking. So when you go for post method, right, we have to pass the response body like this. But now for get method, we are not passing anything because we're dealing with this particular operation, get operation. So simply we have to, so for get operation, nothing has to be passed, right? No need to pass anything. Okay. So we'll see another example where we have to pass some parameters. So we'll first of all try to understand get method and how we'll get the response. Let's try to understand and clear our doubts. Then I will show you how to go for the customer to customer, like how to pass the values here. Okay. These are different examples are available. No need to pass any parameters. I think in the no need to pass any parameters here. These are the different APIs. Okay. So let me show you quickly in Power Automate Desktop. So we are not passing any customer header. No body request body is available. Then what else we have? Like advanced one, we have some other properties that we need to understand. So connection timeout, we can increase maximum utility rate for 30 seconds. We can increase this time, guys, and also other details are available. Encoding methods like scripting is available. Sorry, encrypting is available or not. These are the. I think this will be you can understand when no basically when like business will tell us what is the encoding method and all those details. So simply come here and enable all these things, put all these things. So as of now, we are not doing anything because we are working on open APIs. Then variable produced. How many variables are getting created? 3 variables. What are those? Web service response headers, web service response, and status code. Out of these, 2 are important: web service response and status code. Two are coming up here because already I created this. That's why it's coming up two. Let me delete this part. Okay. Probably. Also, I'll delete it here and take it again one more time. Still variables are creating. Why? Delete. Okay. Yes. So I'm pasting URL first here. What is that URL? This is my URL. And get method is there, nothing to be provided in request and customer headers. So we got three variables here: web service response header, web service response, and status code. That's it. So we provided the details and see the output will come up in the variable format. Let's run this. We need to observe 2 things here. One is status code is coming up what? 200, and response is coming up in this one. So response is coming in this format, JSON format. Okay. But even though it look like a JSON, but it is not looking in a visualization is not good for this one. I hope you are understanding what I mean to say. So to do that, like directly, we can not response this, like what a web service response coming up, we cannot use directly. So we'll convert this into a certain object, custom object, kind of array within array like that. So to do that, there is a option called as convert JSON to custom object. Try to understand this, what this means. Convert JSON to custom object. Thus, this activity I'm going to use, this will convert my JSON response. JSON response coming up like this, but it's very awkward. So to handle that one is also difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm calling this function action. We have to pass that output web response, whatever that is in text format. And this will produce JSON as a custom object. This will produce JSON as a custom object. Okay. Let's go ahead and run this again.
So, sir, convert JSON is like to deserialize JSON file in the UiPath, right?
Yes, deserialize, correct. In
Okay.
UiPath, we normally call it as a deserialized activities there. So
Okay.
here, the same activities concept is there, function is also same. The activities name is different. Convert JSON to custom object is nothing but convert like deserializing the JSON. So here you can see, guys, the data is coming here in a different format. Can you see this? So basically now we can call these values by using the name and value, key and value pair, name and value pair. So I will call the values by using the name. Okay, by simply providing the name, I can get the values. But with the earlier response, it was a little bit difficult. So this process is called as deserializing JSON. Understood, guys? Deserializing JSON. Now it's easy to get the value from this one. But as a best practice, uh, this is not a correct approach. How we built it, right? This is not a correct approach. Whatever code we got, we need to validate that code first, whether the code is 200 or not, whether the status code is 200 or not. If the status code is not 200, means there is a error. So no need to deserialize it. So after invoke web service, we have to put a if condition. Under that, check the status code. Getting, guys, what I mean to say? Check the status code. If the status code is 200, so this is how we already got 200. Then only deserialize it. If the status code is not 200, so it means there is a error. So exit or terminate the flow. Exit the subflow. So this is not a subflow, so we can use a terminate or stop or maybe display message wrong. Connection is failed, whatever error is coming up, 500 comes up, so bad request, 400 is not found. So whatever status code we are getting, accordingly we can put here the message. Okay, but this supposed to, like, whenever you get the 200 means there is successful connection established between API and endpoint. Sorry, API and server. So this is what the indication. Then only we have to use the convert JSON to custom object. Understood, guys? So now question arises, how I can get the data from this one, how I can extract the data. So we have to understand the pattern first, then we can get the data. So here, not this one, let me open up this again. Yeah, this one only. So we can get the like data up to this point. As I said, by providing the key, we'll get the data. By providing the key, we'll get the data. So how I can provide the key? Just let's say display. Okay, display message I'm taking. So here I'll put the message. What message? Where is my data stored? JSON as custom object. That is my variable. JSON as custom object. This is the variable. So from this variable, how I can get the data? So we have to provide square bracket, single quote, and key name you should know. Name of the parameter or main field name you should know. What is field I want? Page. I want a page value. So go ahead and put here page. Okay. Try to understand what I did here. JSON object, square bracket, inside that single quote, provide the key name. And you should be aware about this, right? Our business will tell you which parameter you have to look out. Okay. Click on save button. Let's go ahead and run this. So it should give me the answer, whatever page number is there as a parameter value. So it should display that. Okay. So you can see here the value coming it as a page number is coming 1. Okay. It should not come 1, it should come 2. I don't know. Maybe we need to check out the response again here in the gate 1. What response is coming up? Just a minute, guys, because we don't know like what this URL given, right? Okay, surprisingly, we are getting wrong thing, but yeah. Let me try out another one. Total value. Let's try. What will come? Okay, I think this is coming correct now. 12. Okay, what is the value there? Total is 12. Getting, guys? So now my question is how I can get this data. So data is different, correct? Data having multiple sub data. Okay. So till this point, you can see page having single value, page per page is single value, total having single value, but data having multiple values. So how I can extract this? So here, as data is having multiple values, itself is an array basically, right? So how I can get that data? So there are the ways to deal with this. Let me close this first of all. Okay. So let me show that. First of all, I will put here data as an output. So what we'll get? So you should get all the data inside that data parameter. What data? All this. From this to that end. See, we got this data. Entire data we got. Okay, guys. Hope you're understanding. Maybe the what we are calling there, we are getting something different here, something different. But this is not actual data what we are getting from that API call. So we got this ID 1 to ID 6. So this is the data we are getting from that. Okay, guys. So my question arises how I can let me open up this. Let me save this and open it again. Okay. So it's not working. So basically, data we are getting entire one. Okay. So the conclusion is what I have to understand is this is data itself having a multiple data inside that. It means it's an array, right? So can you relate like this? Data having at zeroth location, this data is available. At zero location, at first location, this data is available. Correct? This is a comma separated. This is at second location. Are you getting this, guys? So we have the data sub data in this format, zero location, first location like this. So in Power Automate, how I can get that details? Okay. So what I will do, I will use a for each. So means as data is available in a collection, so I will use it here. JSON object. Out of that, what data I want? I want data, and each data one by one data will be available. Like one by one data will be available inside the current item variable. Means first data will be stored like this. First, then second, then third. Getting, guys? So one by one data. Let me show you how I can display that. Simply I will put here current atom, right? One by one it is pointing out. One by one it's pointing out. After that we'll see individual data out of that. Okay. See, we got the data, first data, ID, one, first data we got. Earlier we used to got entire data. Now it's one by one we are getting the data. So two we got here. Understood, guys? So how we are getting the data one by one? Finished. Now my question to you people, how I can get individual data out of that? So we are getting this entire data one by one. First, second, third we are getting. My questions to you people, how I get an individual display? Like first time I want to display from each, how I can get it here? What should I do here in current data? Are you syncing with me? So current item
Declare
is having all these details.
by
Yes.
providing the same index first name like in front of data.
Correct, correct. So we have to provide the key in that current item. So current item having all these details. Okay. Inside that we can provide, again we have to provide the index or maybe not index, I mean key value, key parameters. So this is the field name. So now if I run these, what will happen, guys? Instead of displaying all these values, instead of displaying all these values at a time, it will start displaying only what? First name, first name, first name. All the first name it will display. So this is how we can manipulate with the response of JSON. Understood? Suppose I will give an example. Let this work and I will give an example. So we got an output called as George. First name we got is a George. Again, next name we got it is a Janet. We got next name is a Emma. Like this, we are getting the output. So let me put it in a different way. Suppose you are working on one of the project where we are getting the customer details in a JSON response. So this is the customer details. Okay, guys, this is the customer details. So try to understand. Let me take the help of Paint application so that you will deal with this. Now we'll give the same example. You try to understand. Suppose business are giving you the data. So this is the data they are providing in a JSON format. This is the input. Okay. Input they are providing in a JSON format. Business are giving the data in a JSON format. Okay. Bot has to read this data. Okay. Bot has to read this data, and what data is having? Customer details. Assume that there is a customer detail data is available. Customer data is available. What you have to do? There is a third party application. There is a third party application is there. There is a third party application. Okay, guys, try to understand. There is a third party application. There we have to enter these details. You have to enter these details. One by one we have to enter. Understanding what I'm saying, guys? So these are the data entry we have to do. So you have to understand here, input could be anything. Now the input is here is what? JSON, and that JSON data we are entering into on the third party application. Third party application is what? Anything. Okay. Now what is the beauty of this particular API is what we are getting the data in a JSON format, and that data we are entering it on the third party application. So what data we are having? We are having the data like this. So business may provide you the data in various format. One format I would say Excel. They can provide the data in Excel format. They can provide the data in database. They can provide the data in API. Getting, guys, what I mean to say? They can provide the data, input data in a different format. This is the one way of getting the data. So they provide the data in like customer data in a JSON format or API format. We are fetching the data from the API and putting it on the third party application. So to do all these things, we have to call APIs like this. We are calling the API, we're getting all the details through the loop, as well as to convert JSON to custom object. When this is for deserialization, we are getting the data, and once we get all these details, I can populate or I can paste it on the third-party application or whatever operation. So just an example I given. So data has to be entered on a third-party application. So this is how we can deal with. Have you understood this example?
Yes, sir.
Good job. So this is all about API get method. So let me show you quickly API post method. That will end up for today's session. We'll take up some questions. Let's go ahead and build it post method. Okay. Post method, how we can build it, I'll show you. So I'll copy the same code again here. Just create one more flow. Post method. And I'll paste it here. Okay. So what changes have to do, guys? I have to check out the first post method. What post method? There are multiple post methods are available here, right? So let's say this one I will pick up. Register successful. So right click on this, go ahead this one. So what URL is this one? Copy this URL, go to our Power Automate, paste it here. Okay. Then what method you have to select is post. Okay. Then what information you have to pass in the body? The dummy example they have given. This you have to pass. So this API is for creating a user. See, you can think of the real-time example, guys. Suppose there is a customer are saying that your bot should create a users with the email ID and passwords. Account has to be created. So to create an account, there are the two ways. One is using application how to create the account. Second is what? Using the APIs. Now tell me which one is a faster? Using the application creating account is faster or using API is faster? Suppose I'll put an example like this. Suppose you have to create the Gmail account. How will you do that? Normally, you go to the Gmail website and hit on create button, then put all the details and submit the details. So that will create your account. Am I right? So if I give an option like directly API endpoint and provide only email ID and password, which one is easier? So in first case, we have to deal with open the application, click on something, type something, then click on submit button, then that will produce the user account. Here, no need to do all that applications, click and here and open and all. Simply how to pass this value in the API that will create an account directly. Right? So hope you are thinking what I mean to say. So second option is better than the first option here. So this is how the API will help. So let us pass this value, guys, in the API body. API request body. So here I will pass a example. For example, RPA to bot at the rate 4eyes.com. Okay. And password I will put it say ABC123. Okay. Then what response we're expecting? We will get a response like this. A response should be 200. Response code should be 200, and we should get a response like this. ID and token it should get generated. ID and token. Let's go ahead and run this. What we'll get, we'll see. So we want to see the what we want to see, response we want to see. Display image, I'll take it as, and web response we want to see. So this is the output basically, and also we'll see the code. Let's run this. We got a error code. Okay, maybe we are missing something. What it is saying? Missing email or username. And what status code we got? 400. What this means? Let's search out what this means. 400 error means API code list, right? 400 means it's a bad request, I think. So it's a bad request. Understood, guys? So something we messed up here. Maybe we not provided correctly. Email password provided. Okay. Is it expecting anything? I'm just checking out. Let us try this in Postman first. If you're getting the error like this, let's try it in a Postman. Okay. So in Postman, we will copy this. And what body you have to pass is this body you are passing it here. And hit on send button. Okay, note only defined users succeed registration. So basically, maybe it's not allowing to do this. So we need to take the same user, what user they have provided here. I mean, this one. Let's try with this existing one, okay? Maybe have some restriction to create the user. Yes. See guys. So actually we were trying to create a user with a different name and all, but that is not, they are not allowing this. So let's copy this dummy data and try it in our code here. Save and run this. Still it's saying the missing username or email. Okay, what we are missing? So here we are getting the response and they are not getting. Content type, let's try with application JSON. Maybe that because we are passing the JSON, right? Maybe content type we have to change it to application JSON. It should work. If not, I will change it to application type also content application JSON. So basically, what kind of data means body we are passing that matters again, whether it is XML format or JSON format. Okay. Again, it's coming up as a bad response. Okay. Except is this one. XML. Okay, we'll try with the different URL. Maybe this is not working. Let me try with very first option. Which one I'm talking is post method, which is this one, create one. Okay, let's try with this. So I'll copy this method, copy this URL here, put it here. Okay, and username I will build it there. Let's say RPA bot leader job is what? Bot. Let's put bot. Let's run this. So what we are expecting a status code 200 and also some data. ID is equal to this and created at. So we got this response. This one. So response code is what? 201. And we should get name job ID created at. Name job ID created at. See this. name, okay, ID and created ID. So we got this as a response. So probably we'll see more detail. Web response we are getting like this. And also status code is what? 201. Understood, guys? So based on this status code responded, we can put a business rule in our coding. So if we got 201, then only this is successful. Otherwise, it is a failed one. So likewise, we can build a logic in your programming. So I'll leave other options. You can try out like remaining options like post method, register successful. Maybe this is having some restrictions, so it's not allowing to do us. So we can try out any other methods if possible. So this is they are saying let's try with this if possible login one. I will try this. If it works fine, otherwise we'll stop it here. This is URL. What data they have provided is this one. Save and run this. So we should get token number 200 token number. That is what expected here. So it's very straightforward and simple, guys. Missing email or username. Basically, it's giving us an error. Okay. Maybe on Postman it is coming correct, but here it's not coming working out. It's working fine. See, Postman is working. Probably in this request is not going in a correct way to that, I think. Okay. Okay, but I hope you understood the logic or concept behind this, what exactly API and how we can explore using Power Automate Desktop, how can process the items using deserialized methods. So just to conclude, what we learned so far is we understood what is meant by API. Then we understood what is the role of API in automation, correct? Then we've seen testing of API through the Postman application. We have seen open APIs concept. Then we demonstrated using Power Automate Desktop, GET and POST methods. So with this knowledge, you'll be able to do the API automation for any real-time examples or real-time processes. So with this one, we'll conclude today's session. So if anybody having any questions, let us take that and stop the session here itself. Yes. So any question, guys? I have stopped the recording, so that will take